This team placed inside the top 256 in the October Grand Challenge, going 25-12 over 37 games. And all that despite being a mono-type team. And I know that I did that because it's my team. I did those things with this Mono Ghost team that you see right here. Why did I enter Mono Ghost into the Grand Challenge? I was originally thinking of using a quote-unquote more serious team, but I had made the first version of this team, from which this one is adapted, for my Halloween video, the finale of my Ghost Month that I've been doing, where I build teams around Ghost-type Pokemon. The last video was Mono Ghost. If you've watched it, you know that already. If you don't, maybe go watch it before this one. But I decided I wasn't quite done with the concept yet, and with the Grand Challenge being in late October, Halloween season, Ghost being my favorite Pokemon type, which is why I developed this team in the first place, I'd have a little bit more Halloween fun and give it a go. So, agenda for this video, we're going to talk about the team, then I'm going to show some battle content with it, and then if you're good, at the end of the video, I might just give you the rental code. First, the team. So the main mode is the same as it was in my Halloween video, and you can see the exact same cores here. Sableye, Annihilate, Sinistcha, Basculegion. The goal is to set up with Annihilate and make it very hard for the opponent to break. So it has leftovers to keep it healthy, it has bulk up to help it set up and be bulky on the physical side, a lot of special bulk to cover for that side. And then Terra Fire, 1, changes its defensive type matchups, but also 2, makes it impossible to burn. I terrestrialized Annihilate pretty liberally in the Grand Challenge. It did make for trouble into some like Ursaluna matchups, because they just hit so hard, with Headlong Rush in particular. But in the vast majority of my games, I either terrestrialized Annihilate or nothing. I think I terrestrialized Sinistcha twice in the entire Grand Challenge, and Basculegion once, and none of these other 3 ever. So it was Annihilate or nothing the rest of the way. And yeah, Annihilate is there to set up. I didn't have anything to boost its own Rage Fist, but opponents could do that for it, trying to KO it with attacks that fell a little bit short. And then of course I had Sableye setting screens. Usually I just lead it and click both screens right away early in the game. I could adjust that point if I needed to, but that was the usual thing that I did. And I feel like Sableye, first of all, it's naturally immune to Fake Out, which is a small advantage it has over Grimmsnarl. But I feel like it also really benefited from closed team sheets in that opponents saw Sableye, and of course it's a prankster support, but there's a lot of different prankster support that it can do, and of course it gets Fake Out itself. A lot of opponents, I think, were expecting that, so they protect early. They didn't know that Sableye was going to set screens, so I think that was a good surprise to have, and it made Annihilate very hard to break. As did having Sinistcha in the back, because then I could switch it in whenever I wanted. It would passively heal Annihilate with Hospitality. Sometimes I would pivot back and forth between Sableye and Sinistcha, so that Annihilate would get repeated Hospitality healing. And of course I could protect Annihilate, and it would also get a bit of leftovers recovery. But then I also could click Life Dew with Sinistcha. Sinistcha was extremely bulky with all this investment. I was really impressed with how long it would just sit on the field, despite having a lot of weaknesses. And I could click Life Dew, get some more healing on Annihilate, and keep Sinistcha around longer. Strength Sap could keep Sinistcha healthy against physical attackers, and also make it even harder for them to break Annihilate. If someone left like their Garchomp or Dragonite on the field for a long time, I could render it kind of useless with Sinistcha. And then of course I had Rage Powder to cover Annihilate as well, and Matcha Gotcha for not just a damaging move, but also a spread move that would, hit both opponents, heal Sinistcha a little bit. It could finish off a Pokemon if I'd knocked it down to its Focus Sash, which is good because you run into surprise Sash users sometimes in a competition like that. And sometimes it would get a lucky burn. And then the last Pokemon was usually Basculegion, which could play a cleaning role with the Choice Scarf. Tidying things up at the end of the game if the opponent did manage to break Annihilate. I could also bring it out earlier for some offensive pressure, but most of the time it sat in the back in that cleaner role. And actually, there were a lot of games where I brought Basculegion, but it never actually had to hit the field. But yeah, Wave Crash or Last Respects in the late game hits extremely hard, and then there's also Aqua Jet for the speed control if I need it. The last 2 Pokemon are not from the original version of the team. If you don't know what was in those 2 slots originally and why I don't have it here anymore, again, go watch the Halloween video. But I didn't actually test these 2 Pokemon at all before the Grand Challenge. I just theory modded them. And I'm reasonably happy with Zoroark, and I'm a little less sure still about Typhlosion. So first, Zoroark. I think Zoroark was very valuable just to have it team preview, because it messes with the opponent's head yet further, right? So if I lead Sableye Annihilate, which I do in almost every game with this team, Again, the opponent probably doesn't know exactly what Sableye is going to do, but also they can't be sure that this is the real Annihilate. If it's Zoroark disguised as Annihilate, it plays extremely differently, and the way for them to deal with it is very different, right? Slow, bulky setup versus fast special attacker. Still a little bit hard to break with the Focus Sash, but sort of commands more immediate attention. That said, in the actual Grand Challenge, like, I kind of added Zoroark to the team with the idea that it would be nice to have it preview, even if I just didn't actually rely on it much. And in the actual Grand Challenge, I pretty much only took Zoroark to Dondozo matchups. I played maybe 3 or 4 Dondozo in the challenge, and I would lead Zoroark into those. Honestly, hoping to get a Will-O-Wisp burn on Dondozo. That part never worked out. But what did sometimes work out was Zoroark KOing the Glamora with a couple of Shadow Balls, thus preventing it from getting any toxic debris up, and then I could get Sinistcha and Annihilate in later in the game. And most of the time, unless they had a specific Dondozo set to counter this, I could wear the Dondozo down very slowly with Strength Sap while getting Annihilate positioned to eventually win. Those were slower, grindier games as it is with Dondozo, but Zoroark did manage to come in handy in those. Typhlosion was easily the Pokemon that I brought to the fewest games. I made some concessions with its set because I was thinking about King Gambit. I was thinking about a bunch of different ghost types that I thought might be able to help me with King Gambit. In the end, I think King Gambit was not that important to think about. Annihilate could pretty well beat it most of the time, but it definitely wasn't the most threatening opposing Pokemon that I ran into. But that's why Typhlosion has the Terra Fairy to turn its Dark Weakness into a Resistance, and it has Protect for positioning. Instead of Choice Specs, it's able to play a little bit more defensively if it wants, but it's still here to throw off strong attacks. I did bring it to some games, mostly stuff like Sun matchups that I thought Basculegion would be bad in, especially if they had Trick Room, slower game plans. This team doesn't have a lot of speed control, but if Typhlosion was going to outspeed the opposing Pokemon fairly reliably, or at least most of them, and it was, again, something like a Sun matchup where I couldn't see Basculegion putting in a ton of work, that was the kind of game where I brought Typhlosion, but I really didn't bring it very often. I'm not sure it's the best Pokemon for this slot. That said, final thought about Typhlosion, Frisk is very nice to have in closed team sheet. It's of course useless in open team sheet, but when the game doesn't tell you what items your opponent has, you can learn a lot about their sets just from reading those with Frisk. But yeah, that's the team. Most of the time I just spammed Sableye, Annihilate, Sinistcha, Basculegion, and that actually worked really well. I actually think, I'm not going to say that Mono Ghost is real in this format or anything like that, but I do think that some components of this team are worth building on further. I played a few names that I recognized in this Grand Challenge, some really good players, including Wolf Glick, Joe Garte, a player who I'm pretty sure was Nick Navarre, and some others. And some of those players did crush me, but I got some wins over some other players that I, let's just say, didn't expect to beat. The team definitely felt respectable, and I played all 4 calendar days of the Grand Challenge. Some days went better than others, but I went over 500 each day. I think if I hadn't gotten stressed out on Sunday when the games got harder, I might have been able to push the ranking even higher, maybe gotten into the 1700s rating-wise. And into some of the teams that were really strong in this meta. Like, I played a fair number of the Sableye, Dragonite, Gholdengo kinds of teams, and some of them had some real trouble breaking Annihilate once I got like a Bulk Up and a Reflect going. And I was able to grind out some of those games. Annihilate in screens was even able to stall out some bad Direclaw luck sometimes, which is, I didn't play as many Sneasler as I expected in the Grand Challenge, but that definitely counts for something in a format where Sneasler more or less is king. So I'm not going to say take Mono Ghost to a regional or anything, but I think Annihilate and screens might be real. I think the Sinistcha support for a mode like that felt pretty real. And whatever the case, I had a lot of fun using this team, and again, taking on some big names, and actually, I think holding my own with a team composed entirely of my favorite Pokemon type. It was a really fun event to play. It went way better than I expected, and so I wanted to make a video about it. I was thinking originally that I would take this team onto the ladder in this video, but the thing is, I kind of feel like I've done that already, because again, the 4 Pokemon core here is exactly the same as it was in yesterday's video, my Halloween video. So I feel like I'm just rehashing content if I do that, even with 2 Pokemon changed. So instead, for this video, I have given this team its best of 3 debut. I sometimes enter Limitless tournaments run through a Discord server called Biff Pip's Battle Frontier. Most of the time I stream those, But I entered one the other night, and not wanting to leak the team, I did not stream it. Instead, I recorded my sets so that I can add them to this video. We can get a little bit more gameplay, and we can see how this team holds up in best of 3 before I retire it, or maybe build on some of the concepts or whatever it is that I'm going to do. But Mono Ghost held up pretty well in best of 1 closed team sheet. We are going to take it to best of 3 open team sheets. And yeah, we'll see how that goes. Let's check out the sets. All right, round 1. There were, I think, about 18 people registered, but it looks like a lot fewer actually checked in. So it could be a short one. In any case, this person is a Phalanx, so maybe just recycling their Theorem on Thursday team. I don't know. Choice band Phalanx. Might be relatively easy to play around, especially with Mono Ghost. We got the Imprisoned Trick Room for Igraph. That's fine. I'm not running Trick Room. They have their own screens. They have Talonflame. Scarf Annihilate, at least it can't Final Gambit my team, and Life Orb, Blood Moon, Ursaluna. And I'm just going to go... Ooh, I do have to watch out for the taunt Talonflame, but I'm just going to go to my main mode with this team, at least for game 1. And if I feel like I have to make an adjustment, because I've not played this team in best of 3 before, we'll figure it out when we get there. I can get 1 screen up before the Talonflame taunts my Sableye. And I think the biggest offensive threat they have, I mean, the Talonflame is a threat in itself with the Brave Bird. I probably Terrastalize Annihilate in positions like this. And then with the biggest offensive threat probably being the Ursaluna, I think Light Screen is the more valuable screen. Even though I don't have a special attacker in front of me right now. They actually taunt Annihilate, so I can't get the bulk up. But I can get Reflect. And I can just Rage Fist, Talonflame, and see what that does for me. Maybe they'll even give me a boost before the attack goes off. And yeah, we'll just Reflect here. I didn't Shiny Hunt the Pokemon for the Grand Challenge. So the Shiny Sableye on my screen looks a little funny right now. Okay, Rage Fist crits. Unfortunately, Annihilate can't protect right now. I do have the option to switch Sinistcha in. There's also not that much cost to switching Annihilate out, seeing as I didn't get any bulk ups, but I think I just want to Drain Punch Ursaluna and switch Sinistcha in this turn. That'll get Annihilate nice and healthy. I don't think Ursaluna will KO through the screen, especially if it's not going for Earth Power, which is what I thought it would do there. The Drain Punch does about 1/3 through the screen. Sinistcha's getting chipped pretty quickly, but they did just give it its Citrus Berry. I kind of want to Rage Powder here. I can Rage Powder or I can Life Dew. I still kind of want that bulk up on Annihilate. But I don't know if it's worth it at this point. I think I'm just going to Drain Punch Ursaluna and Life Dew. A Parting Shot into Sinistcha, that's fine. I'm probably not about to click Machagacha. Blood Moon into Sinistcha is interesting. Most opponents usually want to try to get rid of Annihilate quickly. But maybe they think that because they've slowed down my setup to the point where I'm not even really trying it right now, they can position around Annihilate just fine. I'm going to bring Sableye back in here and start clicking Thunder Wave. I can Thunder Wave either one of these Pokemon. The Phalanx has high horsepower, potentially into Annihilate. I think I could just Drain Punch Ursaluna and Thunder Wave Phalanx here. That'll make it a little bit less likely that it gets its attack off, but also Annihilate will go before it either way. Earth Power does quite a bit, and I'm not going to get a lot of Drain Punch recovery after the Life Orb chip on the Ursaluna. And they actually go for close combat, and they crit Annihilate through the screen, so there goes the Annihilate game plan, but I might still be able to win this with Basculegion in the back. They don't have a Dark Attack on Grimmsnarl. They do have priority Parting Shot, but I guess I want to lock into Wave Crash because the Grimmsnarl will resist Last Respects. So we'll Wave Crash Phalanx here. Can't Thunder Wave Grimmsnarl because it's a Dark type, so we'll just go Foul Play into Phalanx. Wave Crash actually KOs, so Sableye survives the Spirit Break. We'll get the Foul Play into Grimmsnarl for a little bit of chip. Yeah, really not very much, but chip is chip. Wave Crash Grimmsnarl, just click Foul Play again. Wave Crash does less than I'd like, but they're still focused on attacking Sableye, so Basculegion should win this with one more Wave Crash here. But for the first time ever with this team, there is then Game 2. Yeah, I don't know how to adjust my thought process to that, but let's see. I mean, they weren't really breaking the Annihilate stuff. They slowed it down by taunting it and setting screens, but... I mean, they did break Annihilate, but it was with a crit. I think with the 1-0 lead here, I'm not opposed to just running it back. Maybe I should put a different Pokemon in the back in a situation like this instead of Basculegion again, but I don't know. They lead Annihilate, Grimmsnarl this time. Sorry, I said Grimmsnarl, Ursaluna. Annihilate Ursaluna this time. They don't have Phantom Force or Shadow Claw on Annihilate. Their only really threatening move into my Annihilate is Rage Fist, and I'm not at all pressured to Terra here, so I can just bulk up and Light Screen, I think. They go for Gunk Shot. Be bad if they poison me, but otherwise it's just resisted and not very accurate. Blood Moon will still one-shot Sableye through the screen. That means I don't get Reflect, but I do think Light Screen is more important here. And I kind of want to just go Basculegion, right? I don't really need Sinistcha right now. It might be better in the late game. And Basculegion can give me some more offensive momentum. Their Annihilate is locked into Gunk Shot. I still don't really want to give it Rage Fist boosts in case it switches out later, you know what I mean? I think I could just bulk up again and Wave Crash Ursaluna. Okay, Ursaluna protects. But that Gunk Shot is still not doing much to any of my Pokemon. I mean, it'd be a neutral hit on Sinistcha, but it's resisted by everything else on my team. I still don't want, like... I think I can double into Ursaluna here with Drain Punch and Wave Crash. I don't want to hit Annihilate, but I don't think there's a scenario here where I will. Ursaluna takes some nice damage from that Wave Crash. It'll get the Blood Moon into my Annihilate. That does more than I'd like. Drain Punch will KO. I'll get a little bit of recovery from Drain Punch and Leftovers, and then with the Talonflame coming in, I can Protect and switch to Sinistcha. Get Annihilate a bit healthier. This is pretty much how this team played through most of the Grand Challenge, so this is all familiar stuff so far. Gunk Shot might KO Sinistcha. It actually doesn't. So that means that I can Rage Powder, sack Sinistcha, Rage Fist into Talonflame. And then if they don't switch Annihilate out here and I KO Talonflame, then they can never switch Annihilate out, and they're just locked into Gunk Shot for the rest of the game, which I think is very favorable to me. So let's do that. The Scarf Gunk Shot, or the Scarf Annihilate would go before the Talonflame after Gale Wings is broken, that's right. But they do finally miss a Gunk Shot, and with how inaccurate that attack is, I don't really feel especially lucky there or anything. We see the Phalanx here. I didn't get my Reflect up this game, but I do still have Scarf Basculegion. And I think I'm going to Protect Annihilate here and get a little bit more recovery. And just Last Respects into Phalanx. Might even one-shot. They miss another Gunk Shot. We know it doesn't do that much damage to Basculegion, and yeah, Last Respects does one-shot the Phalanx, so I'll finish their Annihilate off here, probably with another Last Respects. But in any case, they forfeit. Say GG's. I forgot to say good luck, have fun. I need to get better at that. I'm not even streaming this one, though. I guess recording is not that different. But 1-0 start to the tournament, and we'll see what we can do to build on it. Okay, now it's round 2, and this definitely could be a tough one to deal with. First of all, let's remember to say good luck, have fun. But yeah, they've got Choice Band Dragapult. They've got their own Scarf Basculegion. So that's a lot of Ghost-type offensive pressure into my mostly Ghost Weak team. We might want to think about bringing Zoroark at some point this set, but I think for now I'll just stick with the mode I know best, and that is, again, Sableye. Well, I'll put an Annihilate in the first slot like last time. I could bring Zoroark in the last slot. I don't actually like Basculegion that much into this. Well, I do into some of it. Let's try Zoroark. But without illusion shenanigans, just Zoroark in the back as itself. That always feels a little weird. But, hey. It's a Pokemon that has other merit besides just wrecking people, right? Okay. Well, they won't have boosted Last Respects turn 1. Their Sneasler does have Throat Chop. I'm more worried about Dire Claw, but this Annihilate can stall out even a bit of bad Dire Claw luck sometimes with screens and bulk up. So let's see. I'd say most of the time these Sneasler matchups worked out for me in the Grand Challenge, but also I played fewer Sneasler in the Grand Challenge than I expected. Yeah, they did a lot of damage to Annihilate there. I think I'm going to skip... No, I'm not going to... Yeah, I think I'm going to skip the light screen for now and go for a Thunder Wave into Basque Legion. That probably means it's going to miss. Okay, no. So far, so good. We fully paralyzed too, but probably not that big a deal when Annihilate protected anyway. I'll try to KO the Basque Legion here, because even though it's paralyzed, I'm still a little afraid of it. And switch... Okay. Hitting Blaziken is fine too. Switch Sinistcha in to keep Annihilate healthy. That means I still don't have light screen, but... Oof. Don't love the crit there. They only have one significant special attacker on their team. They might manage to break Annihilate at this point. The crit was pretty bad news for me. What can I do? I can Rage Powder and Drain Punch Sneasler. I think the alternative is like Protect Life Dew, but they might just KO Sinistcha. So I think I like this more. Rage Powder, Drain Punch. They protect Blaziken. Sinistcha actually takes that Throat Chop pretty well through the Reflect. I've been really impressed with Sinistcha's bulk. Pretty consistently using this team. And we get Annihilate somewhat healthy again. They bring Rillaboom in. That's good, I think, because the grassy terrain means more healing for Annihilate. Do I want to protect Annihilate this turn? Oh, the Blaziken is running special attacks. I didn't even check that. I think I want to just, like, Rage Fist Rillaboom and Matcha Gotcha to try to finish Blaziken off. Oh, my... It crit Annihilate again. Okay, but Annihilate goes before Rillaboom and knocks it out. Sinistcha dodges the Heat Wave, so hey, luck on both sides. Does get to finish Blaziken off, and now they can bring Basque Legion in, but it's paralyzed, and I can click Rage Powder, and I can knock it out with Rage Fist. Yeah, in fact, they forfeit there. So that was a little dicey to start, but it got a lot better very quickly. Now we go to game 2. I could try leading Zoroark this game, but I don't know that it really does much for me. Like, the attacks they were throwing off into Annihilate early last game, Zoroark doesn't help with. In fact, it's worse at handling them. So I am just going to go back to this mode, I think. And you know what? I never showed the Zoroark in the back last game, so no reason not to bring it in the back again this game. We see Dragapult Blaziken this time. So Terra Fire Annihilate could be pretty good here, but with Phantom Force being a 2-turn move, we can let them lock into it before we commit the Terra. Yeah, so I'll just bulk up and Reflect. We do see the Phantom Force. The Heat Wave does actually quite a bit of damage, but this game I can get my light screen, I think. I'm going to Terra Fire, Rage Fist, Dragapult. It already has a boost thanks to that Heat Wave, which will also be resisted now. And I'll just go straight for a light screen. I don't know what they... Okay, they did Phantom Force Annihilate. You can see it doesn't do too much there through the Reflect and the bulk up. And the boosted Rage Fist KOs Dragapult. So that's a big offensive threat off the board. Basque Legion, of course, is their other big offensive threat. I can make another attempt to paralyze it, but it might even be better to just, like... Protect Annihilate, switch to Sinistcha, have Rage Powder available next turn. That feels a little bit safer, so I think that's what I'm going to do. I can preserve Sableye in the back for a Thunder Wave if I really need it later. They go Terra Water, so... Okay, good. Sinistcha should take another Heat Wave. They tried to flip turn Annihilate. Okay. So I think... I'm going to Rage Fist the Basque Legion slot, but it's going to hit a different target. What if they brought Ursaluna? Is it better to Rage Fist the Blaziken slot, given that we know Basque Legion is leaving the field? Alright, I'll Rage Fist Blaziken to minimize the chance of wasting my move, and I will sack Sinistcha here. Yep, takes the... Actually, I don't know for sure that the flip turn is going to knock it out. Oh, not even close. And it's the Sneasler, so I missed the chance to just KO that with the Rage Fist, unfortunately. Would have been nice, but we'll Rage Fist Sneasler here. And honestly, just click Matcha Gotcha to keep them honest. They'll probably KO Sinistcha, yeah. But if they had done something different, or that Heat Wave had missed, then Matcha Gotcha could have done a lot to Blaziken or to a possible finish Blaziken off, or done something to a possible Basculegion switch in. Here, I think I'll bring Sableye in. I'll protect Annihilate and try to paralyze Basculegion. Yeah. Still have 3 turns of Reflect. Basculegion's paralyzed. Fully paralyzed. They might have tried to KO Sableye there, so that might have mattered. I'll just Rage Fist Basculegion and try to land a Foul Play into Blaziken. Sableye goes down, not really surprised by that. But we do get the KO on Basculegion, and we still have Annihilate and Zoroark to deal with 1 HP Blaziken, so Rage Fist and Hyper Voice. And looks like Zoroark will get its first KO of the tournament. And it wasn't a Pokemon I used all that much in the Grand Challenge. It did get some KOs there, so this isn't its first one overall, but nice to see it putting in a bit of work early on here. Another fairly quick set, and we are now 2-0 in what I believe will be 5 rounds of Swiss. Round 3. Tournament getting smaller as people drop, so I don't know how many more there will be. Good luck, have fun. And open team sheets. The Specs Porygon Z definitely caught my attention on this team. Of course, my whole team being immune to Hyper Beam is kind of nice, but most of them are weak to Shadow Ball. But we'll see. They also got their own Bulk Up Annihilate. Well, I see a lot of those with safety goggles these days, but personally I still swear by Leftovers. And of course the King Gambit is something to be alert to. They also have actual mouse ape stuff with the mouse hold, and I see that Tidy Up mouse hold too. That's interesting. I might have to take a different approach to this one, but I don't know what it is, so for game 1 I'm not going to. Actually, I'm going to bring Zoroark again. Partly because if they get their Annihilate set up, I don't necessarily want Basculegion's physical attacking into that, and partly because the Choice Scarf might bail me out of a tough situation. That's 3 games in a row that I've brought Zoroark in the back, which I never did a single time in the Grand Challenge, so that's kind of interesting. Anyway, this is not a super threatening lead. Feel pretty good to just, like, bulk up and light screen. Considering how many massively threatening Pokemon they have on their team, this seems relatively comfortable. We'll see if that bites me. Sableye, of course, was just taunted. I don't think I mind just clicking Foul Play into stuff. I don't really feel the need to bring Sinistcha in early. And I'll just Drain Punch, Electabuzz, and yeah, Foul Play Electabuzz. As it goes out to Porygon Z, so maybe I get some good damage into that. Didn't account for the Encore. Encore still gets me sometimes. Ooh, the Foul Play crit is unfortunate for my opponent. What I was going to say is, I feel like I've said this on stream before, but I started playing VGC in Generation 8, which I think is the only time Encore has been bad, because it didn't work on Dynamaxed Pokemon. So we're pretty far into Scarlet and Violet now. I don't know that I can really still be making that excuse, but they're upset about the crit. Well, honestly, fair enough. It was a rough one for them. Well, they crit me back, though. What was I saying? Oh, man. I'm getting a little scattered, I guess. They said, oh, okay, in chat. I can just go Zoroark here, I think. Okay. Focusing. Oh. Disguise the Sinistcha, but it doesn't have Hospitality, so that's a dead giveaway. You can also Terra Fire here, I think. I'll just Hyper Voice. Cool, Chaos Porygon Z. I have no idea what I was saying a moment ago. Oh, right. Yeah, we're pretty far into Scarlet and Violet. I probably should be used to Encore by now, but I don't know, man. It's tough. Okay, well, Annihilate is very nicely set up. Of course, they can still Encore it. But, Okay, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to Drain Punch King Gambit and Hyper Voice again. If they Encore Annihilate, then I get the KO into Whimsicott at least. And if they double attack Zoroark and KO it, then Annihilate isn't locked into Encore. Actually, in that case, I should Rage Fist Whimsicott instead of attacking King Gambit right now. King Gambit looks very dangerous into a mono Ghost team, but Annihilate isn't weak to Dark before or after Terra, and it's at +4 defense right now. Okay, Terra Dark. There's the Encore. But we do get the KO on Whimsicott here, and the Terra Dark even means that Zoroark does some extra damage to King Gambit. They're setting up a Swords Dance. That's not ideal for me, not gonna lie, especially since Electabuzz can redirect a Will-O-Wisp. I kind of want to try the Will-O-Wisp anyway. What do I think Electabuzz will do? It could Taunt. I'm gonna try one time to land a Will-O-Wisp into King Gambit. Oh, and it works. Okay. Perfect. Annihilate, I think we'll have to struggle from here on out, but... Is that right? Yeah, it is. Honestly, I might just do that. I'm at +6 attack. It might hit pretty hard if I understand correctly how it works. King Gambit does have Sucker Punch, so I don't especially want a Hyper Voice. But if they Sucker Punch Zoroark, they're not attacking Annihilate, and that buys it some time. So I think Hyper Voice is okay. They follow me. They do Sucker Punch Zoroark. Struggle actually doesn't do as much as I'd like to Electabuzz, but I feel like the Encore will be over soon. In fact, oh, there, it's over now. And now I get the real Sinistcha in. Heal Annihilate. I can Drain Punch. Actually, let's just Rage Fist Electabuzz. It's probably going to redirect. And I can just Rage Powder. Just to keep Annihilate extra safe. What's the King Gambit's item? Black Glasses, which is... which certainly is eyewear, but it's not safety goggles. Electabuzz is gone. They still KO Sinistcha at +2 through the burn, but they didn't notice that the Encore had ended. But, yeah, well, they say GG's, but this is only game 1. It's only 1 GG so far. Personally, I prefer to say GG's at the end of the whole set. I know some people do differently. Hope I don't come across as rude. Do have to play a bit more carefully around the Encore this time, although Annihilate still got going pretty nicely there. So I'm just going to bring the same... Tell me if you've heard this one before. I'm just going to bring the same 4 Pokemon again and see if my opponent can find an answer to them. Because that first game was pretty smooth. And I'm glad that I'm seeing more of what Zoroark can do, especially in that last game, because in the Grand Challenge I pretty much only brought Zoroark to Dondozo matchups and led with it disguised as Annihilate, except when I forgot to choose the target and it was disguised as something else. But Zoroark in the back put in work that last game. We'll see if it can do that again. I do like how best of 3 is forcing me to see a little bit more of what my own team can do. Once again, it's this lead. I do have to be mindful of the taunt and the Encore, but I still don't feel especially threatened. There's not much offense here. I'm gonna just go straight for Rage Fist here though, so that if they lock me into a move, it's that one. And we'll get a light screen again. They do just Moonblast right into Annihilate. I might want to Terra Fire next turn, but they do give me the boosted Rage Fist there. I think I'm okay to not Terra right now. I'll just go for a foul play into the Electabuzz slot. I could switch Sableye out. I could bring Sinistcha in here. Maybe I do that next turn. Okay, they follow me and set Tailwind. Do have to Electabuzz. Annihilate gets a bit of recovery. I can try again to Rage Fist Whimsicott. And there's now less reason to switch Sinistcha in. Plus, if Electabuzz follows me again, it'll probably get KO'd by the double up. So I will foul play into that slot again. They bring in Porygon Z here. That is immune to the Rage Fist, but now Encore is off the board, and I haven't been baited into turning off Annihilate's Hyper Beam immunity. Annihilate doesn't have any boosts, but Porygon Z is dangerous enough with the Specs Shadow Ball that I think I want to just start Drain Punching. The only problem with that is Electabuzz is still on the field, and it has, of course, the Follow Me. I'm actually going to Rage Fist Electabuzz and switch to Sinistcha, and that way I can click Rage Powder next turn for a reasonably safe position in Porygon Z. I don't know why they Hyper Beamed Annihilate there. I mean, I can only assume they thought I would Terra, but I don't know why they would think that. In any case, Porygon Z is now locked into an attack that my entire team is immune to, so it's not really a threat here. I feel pretty safe to get a bulk up at this point. And I'm just going to click Matcha Gotcha and maybe cheese something, like this King Gambit. I don't think this opponent's going to like it if I get the Matcha Gotcha burn, but I don't. That's okay. Try to get rid of Electabuzz here. And bring Sableye in, and then I can see about getting a Reflect. They taunt Annihilate, but that's okay, because I didn't go for bulk up. Sableye takes a lot from the Kowtow Cleave, but importantly is not KO'd. Porygon Z is back. It can go for a Shadow Ball here if it wants. It might be Terra Fire time. I feel like they're going to click Shadow Ball, and I feel okay to Terra. You have to be alert to the pivot out and then Hyper Beam later. I'm going to do it anyway, though. I'm going to Terra Fire, click Drain Punch into Porygon Z, and set my Reflect. They can't taunt Sableye anymore. Oh, Terra Ground. So I could have Rage Fisted it. Oh, they got me with the Terra Blast, too. Okay, that wasn't the time to use my Terra. They got me... they really got me there. So I'm going to lose this game. Zoroark is not pulling this one back. I'll Matcha Gotcha. It'll be super effective in the Porygon Z. Maybe it'll burn King Gambit. I can Will-O-Wisp King Gambit. That does feel too slow at this point. I feel like I just need to be clicking Hyper Voice. But yeah, I think I just lose game 2. But like I said, they have a lot of offensive threats on their team, so had to expect it to be hard to deal with. Oh, we do get the Matcha Gotcha burn. Wait, it might not be over. Wait, okay, Matcha Gotcha Hyper Voice. They just pulled up Matcha Gotcha's info on Showdown. I actually didn't know it had a 20% burn rate. It feels like less in my experience using it. But yeah, it came through there. Potentially. I think this is still losable. Hyper Voice does okay damage. The Porygon Z KO's Sinistcha, so I think I'm going to lose now. I don't have Protect on Zoroark. They can just Sucker Punch it now. Yeah. I could try to play a Sucker Punch Mind game with Will-O-Wisp, but then I just lose to Porygon Z. Especially since I don't have Light Screen up anymore. But Zoroark's not really taking hits like that anyway. So we lose game 2. We'll go to game 3 now. And I really think there might be a case for Typhlosion in this matchup. Terra Fairy, so not necessarily weak to King Gambit. And I can get the Eruption. Of course, they can Tailwind and hit Typhlosion before. But even if I just have Typhlosion in the back in that last game instead of Zoroark, it feels like a somewhat different game. And if I can get Sinistcha in next to it, I can click Rage Powder. They don't have much spread damage on their team. I think maybe I do Annihilate Sableye again, Sinistcha Typhlosion in the back, and this time I'm looking toward a Typhlosion endgame. So we play the early game pretty similarly to before, and that includes being slow to switch Sinistcha in so that I can preserve it to pair with Typhlosion, but then try to clean up with Typhlosion in the back. And I think as long as the King Gambit is still exists, I probably want to Terrastallize Typhlosion. So we'll be very hesitant to Terrastallize Annihilate here. All of that said, they've brought their beat up stuff. They can... Oh no, they don't have beat up on the Whimsicott. Never mind. They have it on the Mousehold. Yeah, they brought their Annihilate, which is actually a real threat next to their Whimsicott. Does mean they don't have Taunt on the board right now. I'm just going to start Rage Fisting again. I'll click Reflect. Protect, Annihilate, but my target here was Whimsicott. Don't like Sableye being one-shot there. That's a bit of an issue for the whole, plan to keep Sinister in the back for a while. What I can do is go Typhlosion now. I still have Frisk on it because I made this team for closed team sheet best of 1. I guess I could have changed that for the tournament, but I didn't change the team at all, so I didn't think of it. I don't want to hear about it in the comments. But what I can do here is switch Sinister in and protect Typhlosion. And then they'll get their speed control up, but next turn I can Rage Powder Eruption. That, of course, it probably won't run through their entire team. It'll only work as long as Sinistcha still has hit points, but it was what I wanted to do in the end game. I feel like I'm being kind of forced into it earlier than I had in mind. But it's something I haven't tried before with this team, so maybe it'll work. That'll be pretty exciting. Right? Okay, we see the Terrifier Annihilate. Actually, that's a problem too, because every time I click Eruption now, I'm giving them a Rage Fist boost. I'm probably just going to lose to their Annihilate at this point, to be honest. I can't see much of a game plan into it. I can start clicking like Shadow Ball into it, but that's still going to take a while to KO, isn't it? I think I just lose here. Do I Erupt or do I Shadow Ball? Oh, and it's Safety Goggles Annihilate too, so I can't even get it with Rage Powder. That's a good thing to suddenly remember right now. In that case, I'm going to try Life Dew and Shadow Ball into Annihilate. The side Moonblast their own Annihilate. Fishing for the special attack drop, but I guess it doesn't work like that with Defiant. Which makes sense. I know that side Parting Shot doesn't work because I've tried it myself. Oh, but they're also just boosting their Rage Fist. That's why they did that. They side Moonblasted to boost their Rage Fist, and it paid off. They KO'd Typhlosion. And yeah, I don't really see a way through this one. I guess there's no reason not to Terra my Annihilate now. Well, except that it would be giving up the Drain Punch immunity, which, Drain Punch being the only recovery their Annihilate has. But their Rage Fist is so boosted at this point that I feel like I have to Terra to have any chance. I'm going to click Matcha Gotcha just in case that damage matters. And I am going to Terra Fire Rage Fist. Right, with their Whimsicott Moonblasting my Annihilate was also a good reason to Terra. They do give me Defiant here. Annihilate survives. Okay, KOs. I kind of wish I had clicked Life Dew with Sinistcha there, but hey, that turn certainly could have gone worse. Probably just lose to Porygon Z now, and there it is. I'm going to try Protect and Life Dew. No, I can't because of... Can I? I don't need to. I can Rage Powder and Drain Punch Porygon Z. At +2. Oh, they said, where's the Defiant? So I guess they did think that getting the Moonblast drop on their own Annihilate would give them a boost. Which is understandable if you haven't tried that before. I've done the same thing with Parting Shot. Okay, we actually KO Porygon Z. So what's in the back? King Gambit. I think I can just Rage Powder and Drain Punch again. Right? Does King Gambit have Protect? It does, but if it protects, then they're not going to KO Sinistcha this turn. Well, unless Moonblast does it, it reduces special defense, but I wouldn't bet on that. Good crit, I suppose. But we do just get the Drain Punch KO into Whimsicott, and here, pretty free to just Matcha Gotcha, or into King Gambit. Here I'm pretty free to just Matcha Gotcha and Rage Fist Whimsicott. Yeah, that wasn't the luckiest set for my opponent, and it definitely could have gone either way. They're saying, I don't know where my Defiant boost yet went. I think that just doesn't work that way, but Yeah, they did have some bad luck here, but hey, tournament's not over, and I definitely could see them beating me if we get a rematch. In any case, 3-0. Okay, this actually is top cut already. Enough people dropped, or didn't show up in the first place, that it stopped at 3 rounds of Swiss. And so this is now top 4. 2 more sets, potentially. Well, single elimination from here, so I could just lose this one, but up to 2 more sets to go. Good luck, have fun with my opponent. I actually haven't looked at their team yet, but it looks like, I mean, Trick Roomy, balanced stuff. I don't know what Twin Beam is for. Is it maybe to break focus sashes? I don't know why you run Twin Beam. Maybe it has an effect I don't know about. Air Dragon, Goldango, Goggles, Incineroar, so can't redirect that with Rage Powder. Good to know. Ursaluna is actually a problem. I had some trouble with Ursaluna in the Grand Challenge because it just hits so hard that it can break my Annihilate through my setup. I definitely have to be alert to that. Their Hydreigon is running Belch, and I don't remember what Belch does. I think it's just a strong poison type attack that consumes the berry. But we'll find out. Well, perhaps. We might not see it. Maybe we will. Most of my team resist poison. Maybe we'll find out. Maybe we won't. Okay. Just going to do the procedure for Game 1. Nothing too crazy. We can adjust in Game 2 if we want. But yeah, the Ursaluna is a threat for sure. They were just rushing headlong, if you will, through my screens and bulk up boosts in the Grand Challenge. Okay, the Decidueye can close combat my Pokemon because it has Scrappy. They might just take the KO on Sableye this turn, but I think it's okay if they do. Well, actually though, that does mean I have to choose a screen if I'm sacking Sableye. I think I want Reflect. Partly for the Ursaluna, and partly because the Hydreigon, if it clicks Draco Meteor, will nerf itself. It could still be a threat, don't get me wrong, but I think we prioritize. On the other hand, Bulk Up will boost Annihilate. Maybe we do Light Screen here. Because I think they'll attack Sableye with Decidueye. I can get the Bulk Up boost, and that can be my Reflect. There's still the Ursaluna to worry about. I'm going to go Light Screen, though. Oh, they actually switched Hydreigon out, so I guess Reflect would have been... Well, they set Tailwind with Decidueye, so I guess wrong on that, and I will get my Reflect. We see Farigiraf in, it can set Trick Room, I can't stop it. I can Drain Punch the Decidueye slot in case they make a really bold switch. You know. I mean, my Rage Fist isn't boosted yet anyway, I feel like there's not a ton of opportunity cost to this play. Also, why would they set Trick Room when they just set Tailwind? That was silly of me. They go for the Twin Beam. Whoa, crit on the second hit, but still didn't do too terribly much. But I guess Rage Fist would have just KO'd the Decidueye there. That said... I think I can just... I'll still Drain Punch in case they switch Ursaluna in. I don't see why they would, though. I guess I could Rage Fist in case they switch Goldango in. Goldango might be more likely at this point. Okay, I'll Rage Fist, if only because I Drain Punched last time. And I'll switch Sinistcha in to help keep Annihilate healthy. They go for the Leaf Blade into Sinistcha, so that works out pretty well for me. Wind Beam doesn't do too much without the crit. We get the KO into Decidueye. And the last Pokemon is Goldango. So there's not really any reason not to Terra Fire here. We can resist Make It Rain and not be weak to Shadow Ball. Although I believe Rage Powder does work on Goldango. I tried it in the Grand Challenge at one point and it seemed to work. Or else my opponent made a play I don't understand. We'll just Rage Fist Goldango. And... I don't think I need to Rage Powder in this position, so I think I can click Life Dew instead. They just go for a nasty plot, but I think they're going to get KO'd. Yeah, they've given me a lot of Rage Fist boosts. It was too late for that. Their Tailwind is gone, they get their Trick Room here, but then they forfeit. I think knowing that Hydreigon is unlikely to beat Annihilate in the back. So we go to Game 2. I'm still a little bit afraid of the Ursaluna, but given that they didn't even bring it, what adjustment can I make? I think we just run back the same procedure again. I spammed this mode so much in the Grand Challenge that I did start to call it the procedure after a while. Honestly, it's me being influenced by the chess subreddit. If you're familiar with the chess world, you might know what Kramnik has been up to lately. But yeah, I would lock in this mode in the Grand Challenge, and I would tell myself, alright, let's start the procedure. Okay. No physical attackers, so we were pretty safe to just go... I say, oh shoot. Oh, whoops. Yeah, we did both forget. I didn't know this command, but if that works, cool. Okay. I kind of want to Terrafire, but the Ursaluna in the back is a real threat if I do that. On the other hand, maybe I can beat it with Basque Legion, but with them able to set Trick Room, it does get tricky. I lost some of these in the Grand Challenge. I think for this, they're threatening super effective damage with both Pokemon. And with Goldango, it's potentially a lot. This is what I'm hesitating on here. Do I Terra or do I not Terra? I think I'm going to Terra. I'll try to figure out the Annihilate later, and I'll set Light Screen. Or the Ursaluna. If I see the Ursaluna later, maybe I can beat it with Basque Legion. It is tough because the Farigiraf can set Trick Room, and it can block Aqua Jet if it's still on the field at that point, and it's hard for Annihilate to remove quickly. Again, this was a matchup that gave me some trouble in Best of 1 closed team sheet. So, wouldn't expect it to stop giving me trouble now, would we? They go right for the Nasty Plot and the Trick Room. I'll try to Rage Fist Goldango here and set Reflect. They'll probably give Annihilate at least one Rage Fist boost before this attack goes off. Yeah. Well, maybe it's a comfort that my opponent is taking some time to think about this play. They might not have the most straightforward line either. Ooh, but that's what I at least wanted to see, the Ursaluna. It might be a blessing, actually, that they one-shot Sableye there, because I can get Sinistra in. And I can Rage Powder a possible Headlong Rush. It's still hard, though. With the Goldango still on the board, it's really hard. What's the Terra type on Ursaluna? Normal. Okay, so I don't have to worry about Terra Ghost. Still haven't boosted my Rage Fist, but I can't. It will KO Goldango here. I just have to think. I should be able to KO something here, but I just have to think about what that should be. I think what I do here is Rage Powder, KO Goldango, hope that Sinistra survives the turn, and that gives me some flexibility for the rest of the game. If it doesn't survive the turn, then I'm in danger. Getting crit by Rage Powder is a bad start. Or getting crit by Rage Powder. Getting crit by Headlong Rush. Yeah, I don't know the Make It Rain calc, but it seems plausible to me that crit mattered. And I can get Farigiraf back on the field here and stop my Aqua Jet. Not that I'm expecting that to one-shot or anything anyway. I think the only possible out here is double Protect with Annihilate. Get out of Trick Room and go for the Drain Punch into Ursaluna. Because I think Headlong Rush will probably KO Annihilate. Well, maybe not after Leftovers Recovery. I'm going to have a tough choice on my hands next turn. I'm going for the Aqua Jet anyway. They can stop it with Farigiraf, but what if they don't? Actually, I don't like that. I don't like that thinking. I'm just going to Wave Crash. They'll probably KO Basque Legion before it gets the attack off. I messed up. I said I was Okay, okay. The flinch doesn't matter. I was losing this anyway. I said I was clicking protect, and then I forgot and then I canceled, and I forgot my play and clicked drain punch. That's sad. That makes me sad. I'm gonna lead Typhlosion. That's gonna be my adjustment for game 3. Oh man. I mean, it's my out was probably double protect. That was probably the only way I still had any chance. So the odds were against me, but just not clicking protect there is rough. I think I'm gonna lead Typhlosion. That beats what they led with before last game. Beats what they led with last game. I also could lead Zoroark, bluffing that I'm doing the Annihilate setup right away again and just like Shadow Ball into Goldango. You know what? I actually kind of like that. And if we go down, at least we go down. If we go down, at least we go down trying to trick them with Zoroark. That's fun. Okay. Sableye, Zoroark. Annihilate Sinistcha. And you know what? If it's a similar lead matchup... I forgot that the order of my Pokemon matters. I wanted this to look like Annihilate. Oh well. I was going to say if they lead something similar, then I have a chance potentially for Zoroark to remove Goldango early. That is not what we're getting here. And I actually think I might be better off just setting Light Screen and switching to Annihilate. And hey, if they haven't yet figured out that it's Zoroark, that means they still won't know that I brought it. And with Focus Sash, maybe it can even take out Ursaluna in a pinch late game. But there aren't very many positions where that actually makes sense, so we'll see. Light Screen, they go Tailwind, so that means it might not be an Ursaluna game plan, like in game 1. And they give me the Twin Beam there. I'll set Reflect. They give me the Twin Beam in the sense that, oh, look at that, it does count as 2 Rage Fist boosts. I wasn't certain, but there it is, black and white. But I'll try to bulk up here. Also, it was the duo of Goldango and Ursaluna that forced me to Terra. Well, it didn't force me to Terra early last game. I was thinking about it for a good while, but it motivated me to Terra early. And so far, we haven't seen either of them in this game, so it is possible that they didn't bring both this time. One way to find out, of course. They're again taking their time to think about this one, but that might just mean they find a good play. Who knows? Okay, there's the Ursaluna. And they're chipping Annihilate. I do get the Reflect and the bulk up, so that's good. Annihilate's at 2/3 HP, but I can switch Sinistcha in here. Get some recovery on it. We know that the Ursaluna doesn't have defensive Terra type. It might protect, but I'll just target a Drain Punch into it. Be nice to get the damage if I can. And this is definitely more straightforward if they don't have Goldango, but they could switch that in here. Sinistcha in. Nice recovery. Takes a lot from the Dark Pulse. But the Earthquake is not that big a problem when I haven't Terrestrialized Annihilate. And Drain Punch gives me quite a bit there. And actually, I even feel fine, I think, just KOing. Just clicking Matcha Gotcha into Ursaluna in this position. They do still have Tailwind up. Actually, I think I sack Sableye here. Or, like, potentially sack Sableye. But the idea is get Sableye in without their Tailwind up. And I'll Drain Punch the Hydreigon slot. Goes out to Goldango. You know, I thought about that possibility, but I didn't make the play for it. That said, the Terrifier gets a lot safer if I can remove Ursaluna. So let's go for Foul Play into Ursaluna and protect Annihilate. And if Sableye gets KO'd this turn, I can get Sinistcha back in and click Rage Power. I keep doing that. Rage Powder. Okay, no, but they're going to give me Ursaluna here. Nice. Now I think Terrifier and Annihilate can win. Switch Sinistcha back in. Terrifier, and I think we Rage Fist Goldango here. Deny it a chance to set up. Could switch out to Farigiraf. Yeah. Well, they could have done that in either slot. They're Poison Hydreigon. Get Tailwind back up. But I'm actually going to go back to Sableye because Sinistcha is in danger of being KO'd and it could be useful later. I know I'm pivoting that slot back and forth. That does happen sometimes with this team, and with Sinistcha passively healing Annihilate on the switch in, it's actually helpful sometimes. So it looks a little weird, but I don't actually think it's bad, and I can Rage Fist Hydreigon now that it's turned off its Ghost immunity, and that should just KO. I don't think this will... Oh, they targeted Sableye. I wouldn't necessarily mind if that KO'd Sableye, but full HP Annihilate, I can just Rage Fist Goldango here. I'll Foul Play Farigiraf to chip it, and they forfeit, so GG's to my opponent. They definitely gave me a run for my money there. I think getting the key adjustment for them was getting the Goldango and Ursaluna out early in Game 2, and I had a lot of trouble dealing with that with my Annihilate setup, but they got away from that in Game 3, and even though they still brought those two Pokemon, I was able to handle them separately and get a winning position. So if that goes a little differently, we lose that one, but that's how it often is in VGC. And we will now go ahead and play the final. And here we are in the final of tonight's Biff Pips Battle Frontier tournament. As always, when I remember, good luck, have fun. It's a swamp team. Did anyone else watch Wolf Glick's Auction Invitational? I had a lot of fun watching that. I thought it was a great event. And of course, Marcus Stoddard won that with a team that in part took advantage of the Swamp Pledge combo. They've also got the Crit Decidueye, which, ooh, that's actually really bad when my team is built around bulky setup, taking crits like that. And they have the Dragapult, so I can't just throw Typhlosion at them. This is a tough matchup, I think. Probably. Throat Chop Sneasler, too. I'm just going to do my usual procedure. Game 1. Actually, I kind of like Typhlosion. But not that much. I really only like Typhlosion here if I can Terrasilize it. I'll do Basculegion. Yeah, I could definitely lose to this. We'll Terrasilize... The Primarina, though. Well, it's... They can also knock off Annihilate's leftovers. Well, it's Eat Flower Trick crits or be weak to water, and especially what I think water... It'll be Grass type. Pledge combo will be Grass type if they go for that. Doesn't matter. Not Terrasilizing. Or Ghost Meowscarada. Okay, I'm gonna bulk up and reflect, but this is already difficult. Also, I'm weak to Fair. Yeah. There's the Pledge combo. They KO Sableye. I don't get my light screen up. Annihilate is weak to Fairy before Terra and weak to Water after. Maybe I should have brought Zoroark. Basculegion is just bad in this position. We're going to go Sinistcha. We're going to click Rage Fist into Primarina and Matcha Gotcha. And we're going to hope that Primarina Moonblast Annihilate. Annihilate survives with all the special bulk that it has and gets a Defiant boost on a Moonblast drop and KO's Primarina. Okay, they actually go Hyper Voice. That might be better for me. Get a lot of good damage. Just gonna need to land. If you don't land the Matcha Gotcha, it misses Primarina. Doesn't burn Meowscarada either. Can Drain Punch Meowscarada probably. I think I might have to Terra Dark Sinistcha. I don't think I can let Sinistcha go down here. That means I don't have my Terra available on Annihilate later, but I think we just send it. Terra Dark Sinistcha, click Matcha Gotcha. They knock off Annihilate. And KO it with Moonblast. Okay, they got me. Primarina drops the Life Orb recoil, and we miss Machagacha into Meowscarada, so now we can bring Basculegion in. Of course, they still have the Swamp up. So Basculegion is going to be way slower than Meowscarada. Look at this drop, that's crazy. So we're going to Aqua Jet Meowscarada and just keep clicking Machagacha, because what else can I do at this point? Basculegion actually takes that knockoff. I've been impressed with Basculegion's bulk. It's not a crazy bulky Pokemon, but it can usually take a hit, and that makes a difference in that late game Scarf kind of role where I've been using it. Machagacha KOs one thing, but it doesn't burn the other thing, and now they have a third thing in. Just keep clicking Machagacha, but we're going to drop to an Outrage. Okay. Yeah, tough matchup for sure, but not dead yet. Well, it's a team of all ghosts, so arguably they were dead from the get-go, but tournament run's not dead yet. I don't know how I'm beating this Meowscarada, and I would submit that perhaps I'm not beating this Meowscarada. I could try Typhlosion stuff. I'd probably have to Terra Fairy immediately, but even then Hyper Voice is still going to do some damage. I can't Thunder Wave Meowscarada because it's a Dark type. So if they go for the Pledge combo again, Primarina, even if I Thunder Wave it, will go immediately after Meowscarada. I actually think the Annihilate mode might be the best thing I have here. But I think we reconsider leading it with Sableye. No, I'm going to send it with Sableye again. We're going to go for Light Screen turn 1, I think, if we see the same lead on the other side. And I am going to bring Zoroark and hope that the Focus Sash can bail me out in the end game. Okay, it is Primarina Meowscarada again against Annihilate and Sableye. We're just going to bulk up and Light Screen. If they want to get their Pledge combo, honestly, that's one of the less dangerous things they can do, at least turn 1. We saw how it can have ramifications later in the game, but they will just KO Sableye again. This time I got Light Screen up. And Annihilate is at +1 thanks to the bulk up. Of course they can Flower Trick through that, but it honestly might be worth it to go Zoroark here and just click Hyper Voice. They might double up and KO Zoroark, but if they do, that's a little bit less pressure on Annihilate. We're going to go for this play again. And given how they played the next turn of game 1, they got me. I thought they might do the Hyper Voice play that they did last time, but then I was going to Terra next turn, but nope, no such luck. Okay, we're going to protect Annihilate here and switch the real Sinistcha in. If they haven't already figured out that well, they have figured out that it's Zoroark because he used Hyper Voice. Never mind. Dragapult goes right for the Terra Dragon. Is it going to Outrage? Nope. Phantom Force. Okay. I can Rage Powder here. The Meowscarada has actually turned off its immunity with the Protean type change. Rage Fist Dragapult. Sinistcha just gets one shot, so Annihilate still has to take the Flower Trick. Does survive, but well, actually, I get Sinistcha back in after this. No, I don't. That was Sinistcha. This is Zoroark. I fooled myself. Swamp is gone. There's definitely a way to win this. It might depend on how my opponent plays, though. I'm going to Drain Punch Meowscarada and Hyper Voice. I think one of my Pokemon will get an attack off and KO Meowscarada. And then I just need to beat Decidueye in the end game. Ideally with Zoroark, I think. Actually protect Meowscarada. KO Annihilate. Okay. Well, Zoroark being faster than Decidueye, I still think there's a chance. The Sash is still intact. Yeah, it gets knocked off. But the game ended here, so I definitely lost. Decidueye narrowly survives the Hyper Voice, and it KOs Zoroark. So that was a close one in the end, but GG's to my opponent. That matchup was really hard for this team to deal with, and hey, I still almost got there in Game 2. And considering that this was a best-of-1 closed team sheet game, the first version of which I, of course, made for a silly little ladder video, and that I then used in the Grand Challenge, where it way outperformed my expectations there. Getting to the final, even in this small limitless tournament here, I think is a pretty good best-of-3 debut for this team. I don't know how far I want to push Mono Ghost, but non-zero chance that I keep workshopping this team some more. I don't know for sure whether I'm done with it yet, but even if I am, this was a pretty good way to wrap things up, and I'm glad I got to record and share this team's journey. So that was it, and as promised, here is the rental code on screen. Feel free to pause and enter that into your game. I'll keep the rental up for, I don't know, at least a while. Honestly, I don't know if I'll ever take this one down, but in any case, Halloween time might be over, but as far as I'm concerned, it's always a good time for the Ghost type to show what it can do, so feel free to try this team out if you want. I'm sure there are some areas for improvement here and there, but for a mono-type team in a high-level competition, I thought it held up really well. I was very pleasantly surprised, and I'm happy to see someone else trying it out if you want. But call this the Ghost Month epilogue, I guess, but Ghost Month is over, and so is this team's Halloween adventure. On to other things, and who knows what's next. Much like the Ghost type itself, it's a mystery.